Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. The topic for today's video is cryptocurrency. Yes, there has been lot of news, lot of speculations about crypto is good, crypto बुरा है, crypto ऐसा है, crypto वैसा है. But I feel बहुत सारे लोग जो है they don't fully understand on what exactly cryptocurrency is. Because of this, जो cryptocurrency का फायदा वो ले सकते हैं, they are not able to take, and without evaluating the pros and cons, they end up making a loss and losing out on this amazing opportunity. So the purpose of this video is to simplify the concept of cryptocurrency so that you as retail investors are well informed and can take fully the benefit of this particular innovative technology. So with that being said, let's start. First and foremost, let's try to understand the history of currencies. So before paper currency was invented, transactions used to happen based on a barter system, which basically means very simple. Now I have 5 oranges, you have 5 apples. So if I need 5 apples, मैं क्या करूँगा? I will exchange my 5 oranges with your 5 apples. The transaction happens and it's done. So very simple. There's no complication there. Now the problem arises when you don't want the 5 oranges I have, but I still need the apples. Then there is a problem. ये वाला problem solve हुआ था by the introduction of precious metals, which means आपका gold, silver, bronze. What that happened was everybody accepted gold, silver, bronze जो है, these are valuable metals. So say for example you say that the rice you have उसकी value है 20 coins of silver. If I have 20 coins of silver, I will give you those 20 coins and then you will give me the rice. Now this went well till it reached a point जहाँ पे if I am a businessman and I want like 10,000 or 100,000 kilos of rice, the value of 100,000 kilos of rice would be probably 10,000 pieces of silver. Now for me to carry that much silver, एक तो the problem was in terms of because it becomes heavy, there is a transportation and inconvenience. Additionally, इतना सारा लेके जाना point A से point B तक जाना, it was a security risk as well. This was solved by the introduction of paper currency. Now the concept of paper currency is very simple. Every country had a ruling government. So what government said? We will print currency on a piece of paper, give it to you. Now this particular piece of paper which you have in your hand, whether it is 10 rupees or 20 rupees or 100 rupees, the value is determined by the government's promise to you. So the government says the value of this particular note is 10 rupees, so it is 10 rupees. If I will say the value of this particular note is 100 rupees, then it's 100 rupees. The only cost that the government had was just printing ink and paper. Now what had happened is, because of the ease and the convenience by which paper currency can be created, the economy boosted and everything grew, everybody benefited. But the benefit led to the problem, which meant now the government can decide what is the value of the currency. You as an investor or as a person don't have any control on it. Like for example, it happened in India. If the government decides overnight that the value is no longer there, then the value of the note in your hand does not exist. When the demonetization thing happened, all 500 rupees note were invalid. Big problem. Now problem number 2 is, because the government has full control of the amount of money or amount of note it can print, it printed a lot of money. So tomorrow, if say for example, let's assume there are a total of 1,000 notes in the system and you have 100 rupees, which is one of the note. Tomorrow the government decides that instead of 1,000 notes, there will be 2,000 notes. So your 100 rupees effectively becomes as value as 50 rupees. So the value of your savings depreciates because of the government printing the amount of notes in circulation. And this has happened quite recently as the COVID crisis. Once the COVID crisis happened, the economy fell down. Now the government wanted to restart the economy. Smaller business को help करना था, लोगों को benefits देने थे. So they decided to print millions and trillions of dollars. To give you an example, US printed around $2 trillion, which means up तक from start जितना money circulation में है, US has printed 20% of that entire circulation in just 3 months of the COVID money printing cycle. So the value of dollar depreciated and took a big nosedive. The purchasing power of your money depreciate with no control from your side. Now the third problem, if you have to make a transaction, say if I have to send money to another person, what I will do, I will tell my bank I need to transfer to XYZ person. Bank will check if my balance in the bank is there. Say if I have 100 rupees, so bank will say okay, 100 is okay, he needs to transfer 10. Then he will check the credentials of the person to which I want to transfer, facilitate the process and take a commission out of it, and that's what how banks makes money. Now in this particular case, because my money is with the bank, I have no control over it. Because if tomorrow my bank for some instance says that you cannot withdraw the money because of XYZ reason, I cannot do anything. Now I can only transfer if the bank says yes. If the bank says no, I cannot transfer my own money. Now hear me out. So when I say the bank says yes, it means that within the bank there is a certain department, say 5 people running that department, who decides whether I can transfer to another person. So, like me, there are millions of customers, and these 5 people are the centralized authority who decides whether these millions of people can transfer to the other millions of billions of people out there. So, this centralization of power leads to corruption, leads to scams, whether it's the PNB scam, whether it's Nirav Modi scam, so on. There are millions and millions of cases which you would have heard. This results in the loss of public money, which is my money and your money. So, in all the three instances, if you notice, whether the government decides to devalue a currency, whether the government decides to print more, or there is some scam in the bank in which my money is stored, we as retail investors or persons have no control over the value of our money or savings. This can depreciate without any intervention or decision taken from our part. So that brings to the critical point. It is the centralization of the power which is creating this big issues. Best solution is, what if we can send money from one person to another person digitally through a decentralized network? Sounds amazing, right? This is exactly what cryptocurrency brings to the table. Now, let me take the example of Bitcoin to explain cryptocurrency. The reason why I'm taking Bitcoin is it's one of the most popular and the first major cryptocurrency to hit in the market. There are 4 key points which we need to understand. Number 1, decentralization. Number 2, blockchain. Number 3, digital. And number 4, currency. So, point number 1, what exactly is a decentralization? Now, for example, as I mentioned, in the case of paper money, all the power was centralized in one database. What that means is, for example, if A sends money to B, then what the bank's database will do is A's account gets debited by 10 rupees, B's account get credited by 10 rupees. Now this database is stored centrally in the bank. Now this again, as I mentioned, leads to problems in terms of corruptions or scams because few people are controlling it. Now, what Bitcoin brings to the table is, say, assume there are millions of people in a Bitcoin network, right? If A has to send money to B, this process of whether A has enough funds to get transferred to B is validated by everyone in the network. And when I say everyone, it doesn't mean I'm referring to any particular person who is checking it, but the computers who are operating in that network. So the human error is reduced to 0 because there are no humans involved in the validation of the transaction. So this means I can send money to anyone in some other part of the country digitally, which means instantly, without any central authority controlling over it, because the process is decentralized. Now this transaction is validated by every single computer in the network. which creates a secured framework because कोई human involved नहीं है. It's a algorithmic computer coding that takes place. So chances of error reduces to zero. Now this particular technology is called blockchain. Now details of blockchain is a very vast field, probably we'll discuss in some other video. For now let's just simplify things and try to understand that ये जो transaction हुआ from A to B, this is approved by the machines in the network, which are in millions, and this is not controlled by any single person. That means you are free to transfer from one point to another point without being dependent on any centralized governing body to control it. And the security of this particular transaction, because money is involved, is through the blockchain network. Now the blockchain network is built such that it cannot be hacked, it cannot be manipulated. Sounds really amazing, right? Yes, it indeed is one of the most revolutionary things to come across the board. So does that mean that because you are able to transfer A to point B, you should just leave everything and put all your savings in Bitcoin? The answer is no. First, let me talk about the pros before we go into the cons. So the first is, as I said, it is decentralized in nature. That means nobody controls it. Number two, you can instantly send money anytime, anywhere, any place to any country without anyone giving you approval on it. Number three, because of the blockchain technology on which Bitcoin is built, the platform is extremely secure and there is hacking that can happen which can steal your money. Fourth, you have full control over your money. The reason being, the value of one Bitcoin in terms of rupees is determined by the supply and demand and not by any government commanding or determining what is the value of one Bitcoin. For example, if there are 100 people in the network, in the Bitcoin network, who says the value of one Bitcoin is 1000 rupees, then the value of one Bitcoin is 1000 rupees. Now this 1000 rupees can increase or decrease depending on how much these 1000 people are willing to pay for it. That means the value of one Bitcoin is determined by the entire network and not by few people in the centralized governing authority, which is great. Now, what are the cons? The cons are, because the technology is new, there are very few adopters. There is huge volatility in the market, which means today if you invest, say for example, 1000 rupees to buy some portion of a Bitcoin, then tomorrow this 1000 rupees can reduce to as much as 10 rupees if all the people in the market decides the value of Bitcoin should be low. That is the volatility. Now as and when more and more people adopt this particular currency, it will become more stable because a consensus has to reach for the value to fluctuate. Number two, any transaction that you have done cannot be reversed, so you have to be very careful while making a transaction. Number three, in case of any transactional error or system error, there is nobody to complain to because there is no centralized body overseeing this particular transfer. Now the chances of that happening are less, but it is not 100% and foolproof because the technology is at a very nascent stage. Now I hope you are able to understand what are the pros and cons when it comes to investing in Bitcoin. In terms of market share, Bitcoin is the most popular cryptocurrency out there with a market capitalization of $800 billion, and in the years to come this has to grow exponentially. So say for example, I personally believe if you were to put 1000 rupees now in Bitcoin and hold on for 10 years, the chances of this becoming 10,000 or 1 lakh is quite possible. So there is a huge opportunity on it, but because of the volatility of the market, there is a chance this can become 1 lakh or 10,000, or it can go to zero. So now you would ask me like, okay, we understand cryptocurrency, Bitcoin is good, it has huge market potential, but how do we buy it? How do we store it? How do we make transactions on it? Very simple. What you need to do is you need to log in or open an account in a cryptocurrency exchange. In India, there is WazirX. I personally use Vault. I'll put down the link in the description box for anyone to sign up. You can sign up, do a quick KYC. The process is quite instantaneous. Once you are done, you can transfer from your bank account to your wallet account, and through your wallet account you can buy your cryptocurrency. There are tons of cryptocurrency exchanges where you can connect, open up an account and start trading immediately. So that brings us to the end of this video. I hope you have a better understanding of what exactly cryptocurrency is and how to take full advantage of this particular opportunity. Thank you for watching this video, and please do like and subscribe. Thank you so much.